Inside of this box is an airbrush. I've never been excited about an airbrush per se, but the manufacturer told me that I should be, so let's see what's inside. Even the bag is, you know, like proper bag. All right, it's actually upside down. Just look at this. Majestic Snake Collection 2025 from Gaahleri. You know, speaking of packaging, when it comes to, you know, like really fancy, like kind of airbrush packaging, always thinking about something like a, you know, like custom micron from the Iwata, or something like a Infinity, or, you know, Evolution. But this one, it's just, I have to give it a, you know, wow, just look at that. Compared to well-known brands, Gaahleri is definitely a new player in the market, and it is always exciting to see fresh competition. I'm really clumsy here, but let's have a look. Wow. So we got a sticker, and let's look at the airbrush itself. Wow. There are two airbrushes in the set, the Mobius TG and the Mobius SP. Well, obviously this is a trigger type, looks nice. Let's see the other one. So, oops, it's pretty tight. Very cool touch of this snake-shaped 2025 majestic snake. That must be some of those, you know, limited edition, like collectible edition of airbrushes. Okay, first impression, very cool. Let's talk about the TG, the trigger type airbrush. Personally, I found this type more interesting. It effectively reduces hand fatigue during long sessions. The airbrush finish is just as gorgeous as the packaging. Compared to my beloved custom micron and Evolution, it holds its ground very well. The airbrush has a nice, dense heft, while the handle is lightweight and comfortable to hold. And the Mobius ring at the back is definitely a nice touch. Taking it apart, you'll notice some interesting design choices. The front nozzle system is quite similar to that of the Harder and Steenbeck airbrushes, but with larger dimensions and added grooves on the nozzle. They call this the spiral-shaped mag nozzle, which according to their website, it's designed to ensure uniform and stable airflow. How effective it is, I'm not really sure. The trigger action on this airbrush is smooth with minimal play, making it quite responsive. A nice feature is the inclusion of two front caps, allowing me to easily switch spray patterns, which you will see in a second. In terms of performance, I use acrylic paints to test it. The spray is even and consistent. The fan pattern works particularly well for covering large surfaces quickly, such as painting those big tanks, ships, or varnishing the car models. What's interesting is that Gaahleri included a round front cap in the set. When swapped it in, the 0.5mm nozzle suddenly becomes capable of decent fine detail work, like painting camouflage patterns. This added versatility is a nice touch, allowing for both broad coverage and more precise spraying with a simple adjustment. This is quite impressive considering the large nozzle size. Cleaning is very easy thanks to the mirror-like coating inside the cup, though its long-term durability remains to be seen. Next, let's look at the siphon fat airbrush included in the set, the Mobius SP. It comes with a 0.3mm configuration, but also includes a 0.5mm nozzle and the needle if you want to swap it. The build quality is just as nice as the trigger type airbrush, with a high quality finish that looks great. Siphon fat airbrushes are great for situations where you need to paint large areas, switch colors very often, or try to avoid blocking your view while spraying. But they also require more paints in the cup to function properly, so it really depends on what you do with them. The 0.3mm nozzle gives me a nice, tight, accurate pattern. Though personally, I don't use siphon fat airbrushes that often, but I have to say that this one performs really well and is well made. One feature I really wish this set had is the interchangeable nozzle between the two airbrushes. If I could swap the 0.5mm and the 0.3mm nozzle between them, it will be absolutely a game changer. That way, I could have both fine detail precision and high coverage spraying in a comfortable trigger type airbrush, covering most of my airbrush needs. However, it seems that the outer diameter of those nozzles are different, so it can't be swapped. Of course, it is not meant to be a do-everything airbrush anyways. Depending on your workflow, you probably still need a 0.3 or 0.2 top-fed airbrush for finer details. Speaking of details, one thing I really liked is their well-organized website, especially for replacement parts. Instead of relying on a separate diagram, you can simply click on the parts you need. A nice touch. Everyone should do it. So all in all, they are really beautiful airbrushes and they paint also very finely. I still need some time to give you a longer term review in regarding how reliable they are. But right now, I'm happy with them. So if you want to grab a set for yourself, you can use the code on the screen to save 10%. And I'll put the link, also the code, in the description and the comment section for convenience. I'll see you in the next one.